Amazon.com. Very good website. You should really try it.
Before ventured into the realm of e-commerce by founding Amazon and ultimately growing it into a trillion-dollar company, tech mogul Jeff Bezos had a lucrative career on Wall Street. He worked for D.E. Shaw, a prestigious hedge fund, and he was the youngest senior vice president. Bezos was 29 at the time, 5 foot 8 inches tall, already balding and with the pasty, rumpled appearance of a committed workaholic. He had spent 7 years on Wall Street and impressed everyone he encountered with his keen intellect and boundless determination. Jeff Bezos' boss remembers him as a capable and upbeat employee who worked tirelessly and at different times managed the firm's operations in London and Tokyo. His boss, Chichelniski, says, Bezos was not concerned about what other people were thinking. When you gave him a good, solid intellectual issue, he would just chew on it and get it done. At D.E. Shaw, Jeff Bezos displayed many of the idiosyncratic qualities his employees would later observe at Amazon. He was disciplined and precise, constantly recording ideas in a notebook he carried with him, as if they might float out of his mind if he didn't note them down. He quickly abandoned old notions and embraced new ones when better options presented themselves. He already exhibited the same boyish excitement and conversation-stopping laugh that the world would later come to know. Bezos thought analytically about everything, including social situations. Single at the time, he started taking ballroom dance classes, calculating that it would increase his exposure to what he called N+ women. Jeff Holden, who worked for Bezos first at D.E. Shaw and later at Amazon, said, Bezos was the most introspective guy I ever met. He was very methodical about everything in his life. Jeff Bezos met his wife Mackenzie Scott while working at D.E. Shaw. Bezos, who conducted Scott's job interview, was immediately taken by her. Their connection was instant and deep. The couple got engaged 3 months after they started dating. They were married 3 months after that. It was mid-1990s. Jeff Bezos was captivated by the rapid growth of the internet.
The wake-up call was finding this startling statistic that web usage in the spring of 1994 was growing at 2,300% a year. You know, things just don't grow that fast. It's highly unusual. And that set me about thinking what kind of business plan might make sense in the context of that growth.
After making a list of 20 products he could sell online, Bezos decided that books were the most viable option. Jeff Bezos reasoned, the idea of building an online bookstore with millions of titles, something that simply couldn't exist in the physical world, was exciting to me. He flew to Los Angeles to attend the American Booksellers Convention and learn everything he could about the book business.
Our choice of product categories, books, was a very good choice, and we did a lot of analysis on that to pick that category as the first best category for e-commerce online. But there were no guarantees that that was a good category.
Bezos' major dilemma was whether to leave his secure, well-paying job for the unpredictable world of internet startups. Bezos recalled, I knew when I was 80, I would never think about why I walked away from my 1994 Wall Street bonus right in the middle of the year. That kind of thing just isn't something you worry about when you're 80 years old.
So I wanted to project myself forward to age 80 and say, okay, now I'm looking back on my life. I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. So when I thought about it that way, it gets you away from some of the daily pieces of confusion.
Jeff Bezos told his boss at the investment firm that he was quitting to start an online bookstore.
I went to my boss and said to him, I'm going to go do this crazy thing, and I'm going to start this company selling books online. And this is something that I had already been talking to him about in a sort of more general context. But then he said, let's go on a walk. And we went on a 2-hour walk in Central Park in New York City. And the conclusion of that was this, he said, this actually sounds like a really good idea to me. But it sounds like it would be a better idea for somebody who didn't already have a good job. And he convinced me to think about it for 48 hours before making a final decision.
When Jeff Bezos informed his parents about his new startup, their first reaction was, What do you mean you are going to sell books over the internet? It was hard for them seeing their accomplished son leaving a well-paying job on Wall Street to pursue an idea that sounded like utter madness. His mother, Jackie Bezos, suggested to her son that he run his new company at night or on the weekends. Bezos told her, "No, Mom, things are changing fast. I need to move quickly."
I'd already talked to my wife about this, and she was very supportive and said, look, you can count me in 100%, whatever you want to do. It's true, she had married this kind of, fairly stable guy in a stable career path, and now he wanted to go do this crazy thing, but she was 100% supportive.
Jeff Bezos first named the company as Cadabra, after the magic slogan, Abracadabra. When he first mentioned the name to his lawyer over the phone, his lawyer misheard it as cadaver. Bezos knew right then that the name would not stick.
I called a friend who lived in Seattle, asked if he recommended an attorney. He said yes, he recommended his divorce lawyer, but that's who we used. It was a general practitioner and a small guy, a sort of small sole practitioner. He incorporated the company. He asked me on the cell phone, what name would you like the company incorporated under? I said, Cadabra, as in abracadabra. And he said, cadaver? And I knew then that was not going to be a good name.
While looking through the A section of the dictionary, Bezos discovered the word Amazon, which seemed fitting because it was Earth's largest river and he was building Earth's largest bookstore. And Amazon.com will appear in the first pages of the Internet directory, making it easier to attract users and customers. So Bezos settled on the name Amazon. Starting Amazon required significant personal investment, both financially and emotionally. Bezos utilized his savings and even secured funds from family members. Bezos's parents, Jackie and Mike Bezos, invested $100,000 in Amazon. His father, Mike Bezos, says, "We saw the business plan. It didn't make sense for us. We weren't betting on the internet. We were betting on Jeff."
The first sort of initial startup capital for Amazon.com came primarily from my parents, and they invested a large fraction of their life savings in what became Amazon.com. And that is was a very bold and trusting thing for them to do, because they didn't. My dad's first question was, "What's the internet?" Okay, so he wasn't making a bet on this company or this concept. He was making a bet on his son, as was my mother. So, and I told them that I thought there was a 70% chance that they would lose their whole investment, which was a few $100,000, and they did it anyway.
Bezos called his parents and said, "I want you to know what the risks are, because I still want to come home for Thanksgiving if this doesn't work." By the end of the decade, as 6% owners of Amazon, Jeff Bezos' parents were billionaires. His wife, Mackenzie, an aspiring novelist, became the company's first official accountant, handling the finances, writing the checks, and helping with hiring. For coffee breaks and meetings, the employees would go to a nearby Barnes & Noble. In the early days, Amazon.com website was primitive, mostly text and somewhat unimpressive. The homepage of Amazon announced the following words in blue underlined text: 1 million titles, consistently low prices.
When we launched that store in July of 1995, we were shocked at the customer response. Literally in the first 30 days, we had orders from all 50 states and 45 different countries. And we were woefully unprepared from an operational point of view to handle that kind of volume.
Bezos and his team continued improving the site, introducing many new features as one-click shopping, customer reviews, and email order verification. The business grew faster than Bezos or anyone else had ever imagined. Each order during those early months brought a thrill to Amazon's employees. When someone made a purchase, a bell would ring on Amazon's computers, and everyone in the office would gather around to see if anyone knew the customer. It was only a few weeks later it started ringing so often that they had to turn it off. The company held no inventory itself at first.
We quickly expanded. We talked to our landlord and we expanded into a 2,000 square foot basement warehouse space that had 6-foot ceilings. One of our 10 employees was 6'2". He went around like this the whole time.
When a customer bought a book, Amazon ordered it. The book would arrive within a few days. and Amazon would store it in the basement and then ship it off to the customer.
We were doing our day jobs, which might have been, computer programming and all the different things that 10 people will do in a little tiny startup company. And then we would spend all afternoon and into the wee hours of the morning packing up the orders and shipping them out. I would drive these things to UPS, and so we get the last one, and we wait to the last second. I'd get to UPS and I'd sort of bang on the glass door that was closed, and they always would take pity on me and sort of open up and let us, ship things late.
It took Amazon a week to deliver most items to customers, and it could take several weeks or more than a month for rare book titles. The packing work was difficult and tiring and often lasted well into the night. Amazon early employees assembled orders on the floor.
We had so many orders that we weren't ready for. We had no real organization in our distribution centers at all. In fact, we were packing on our hands and knees on a hard concrete floor, just to show you how stupid I can be. We were packing these things, everybody in the company, and I had this brainstorm. And as I said to the person next to me, this packing is killing me. My back hurts. This is killing my knees on this hard cement floor. And the person said, yeah, I know what you mean. And I said, you know what we need? This is my brilliant insight. We need knee pads. I was very serious. This person looked at me like I was the stupidest person they'd ever seen. They're like, I'm working for this person. This is great. And said, what we need is packing tables. I looked at this person and I thought that was the smartest idea I'd ever heard. The next day we got packing tables, and I think we doubled our productivity.
While Bezos and his employees worked exceedingly long days, Bezos was always thinking about raising money. The company couldn't continue hiring and growing on the Bezos family savings alone. He approached 60 potential investors and aimed to raise $1 million through individual contributions of $50,000 each. And he told investors the same thing he told his parents: the company had a 70% chance of failing. With the influx of the $1 million in fresh capital, the company upgraded its servers and software, and more important, it hired. Bezos added waves of new employees to customer service, to the warehouse, and to technical team. Bezos wanted all of his employees to be high IQ brainiacs. Bezos felt that hiring only the best and brightest was key to Amazon's success. For years, he interviewed all potential hires himself and asked them for their SAT scores. Bezos said, every time we hire someone, he or she should raise the bar for the next hire, so that the overall talent pool is always improving. Bezos used to say, you can work long, hard, and smart, but at Amazon you can pick only 2 out of 3. By the first weeks of 1996, Amazon's revenue was growing 30 to 40% a month. In 1997, at the height of the internet bubble, Amazon.com made its initial public offering, causing numerous market analysts to question its ability to withstand competition from traditional retailers entering the e-commerce space. However, just 2 years later, the company not only managed to keep up with its competitors but also surpassed them, establishing itself as a leading force in the world of e-commerce. Jeff Bezos said, when you are small, someone else that is bigger can always come along and take away what you have. You have to level the playing field. In 1998, Bezos expanded Amazon's range of products by introducing music CDs and videos for sale. Subsequently, he ventured into clothing, electronics, toys, and other items through significant retail collaborations. Despite numerous dot-com failures in the 90s, Amazon thrived and witnessed remarkable growth in annual sales. Jeff Bezos said, people are very convenience motivated, so we started the expansion into all categories, consumer electronics and then apparel and so on. When Bezos enters a new product category, he is not intimidated by a lack of expertise. Bezos said, I am never disappointed when we're not good at something, because I think about how good it's going to work when we are good at it. We have tons of invention and ideas and we will be working our way through. Today, Amazon sells almost everything, from toilet paper to groceries to electronics to fashion to furniture.
That's how you start, one step at a time.